Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, we are sharing the upcoming summer event that you don't want to miss. Plus, we have some opinions on literary vampires. Stay tuned. Today's episode is sponsored in part by Amazon Music. Check it out. It has 70 million songs, thousands of playlists. You can listen without commercials. Sign up today and get your first month for free using the Shelf Addiction link. Go to getamazonmusic.com/shelf addiction and sign up today. Again, the code is shelf addiction. The link is also in the show notes. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's topic. You can always find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That would really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. Without further ado, let's get started. We've got a lot to cover today, so we are going to jump right on. And joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm glad you're here because we love today's topic. We do.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's one of the best.
It is. And if you're not watching on Patreon, you cannot see the plethora of vampire books we have, showing behind us. That gives you a clear giveaway of what we're talking about today. So we are talking about vampires. So first up, we are going to share with you a fun voting event that we have going on in July in the Facebook group. So you should head on over, join, so you'll be there for the kickoff. And then after that, we're going to get into some of our bracket picks for the vampire voting. And we're going to give you some context. We're going to talk about who we like, what kind of vampires we like and don't, what lore we like the best, and more. So we've got a lot to get into. So let's get started. Let's talk about the event. Casey's brain just came with this amazing idea. How about you kick it off?
My brainchild popped out a couple days ago, and I texted Tamara immediately. I was like, I have this fun idea for us to do because, books and fun and in the Facebook group. So we all love paranormal heroes and creatures and characters. We're readers. We love them. We love everything. And I had the fun idea of picking our favorite. And by favorite, I mean everybody gets to nominate their favorite hero vampire character in our Facebook group. And we will have a voting system on who is most beloved by all of us readers, because we've all probably read Janine Frost, J.R. Ward, Anne Rice, Charlene Harris, Little K. Hamilton. There's a lot of vampires we know and we love, and we want to pick the number one vampire. So we'll nominate our vampires, we'll vote for our favorite vampires, and then, this is the best part, everybody gets to join us in a Facebook Live chat and defend your character.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Tell us why who you think is the best and why we should change our minds.
Yes. So, we could get in there and we could fight it out with Bones, Ian, and Vlad, because I know we have a lot of Janine Frost fans here. Or, we could have a Lestat fan or Vicious from J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood. You got to tell us why he's the best. And the Bones people be like, Bones is the best.
Yeah, or we can go throwback with the oldies from Anne Rice. I mean, those jams. It doesn't have to be.
Use Dracula, not Vlad Janine's Frost, but actual Bram Stoker's.
Absolutely.
Again, vampires are the best. And if this goes well, we could do this for everything. We could do this for werewolves. We could do this for witches. We could do this for dystopian books. Come on, guys. We can just have like the most fun battling it out with all of our favorite books and characters and just really, hang out.
Oh, yeah. And, since we're calling this Top Shelf Book Battle, bring your drinks, y'all.
Bring
Water,
your drinks.
Tea, coffee, vodka, brown liquor, whatever.
Yes.
Bring it, and we will have a good time.
Top shelf for you.
Yes, and we will have a good time with it. So definitely, you guys want to make sure you join ASAP so you don't miss when the call to action goes out, when we start wanting to collect names. And we're going to do it bracket style. So football, basketball, however people do brackets. I think it's mostly with basketball, right?
I don't know.
Or whoever. I don't know sports either. I know brackets and I know how they work. So we're doing it bracket style. Yes. So come prepared to jot down your favorite vampire. And it's going to be fun. I think we're going to pull some really interesting conversations, or characters rather, and that will start some fun conversation because there are so many types of vampires, all kind of, do you read dark? Do you read sparkly, as Casey said earlier?
Where are you on this spectrum of vampires? Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I think that's it for that. If you have any questions, find us online. We're easily accessible on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. All the places. I think you can even find me. Yeah, join the group. That's the best way because I'll see it right away and I get notifications. So join the Facebook group. And I look forward to seeing you there.
It'll be fun, you guys.
Yeah, let's get into what we like, who we're gonna pick. And it's hard. I don't have a number one slot yet, but I will by July 1st.
Yes.
Do you have some top people already in your head, like top contenders for your number one?
Janine Frost's world is just, it's a favorite world. I love all of them. I don't know if I could necessarily pick between Bones, Vlad, and Ian right now. And even Kat. Kat is a vampire. She totally counts. So, she could come in and kick some ass. I don't know. Do we have any Kat fans?
I think I will probably, even though, I love that world of Janine Frost, but I have a feeling they won't be my top slot.
Who's in your top spot?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly quite yet, but I feel like honestly it's gonna be maybe somebody from the Black Dagger Brotherhood group, actually, or depending on I kind of like the well, I guess they're technically, I don't know. I need to go back and see if they are actually termed as vampires in this one book. So I'm not going to mention it because it's been a long time since I read it, but I just loved it so much. I have to make sure they're actually freaking vampires or if there's something else. But yeah, I even liked, the interview with the Vampire Diaries from back, Vampire Diaries from back in the day, interview with the vampire. And I did not like Vampire Diaries book, but I love the show. So I would never pick one of those vamps from that book series, by the way, because I love the show. And the show doesn't count.
Oh, it doesn't count?
I don't know. We're talking about books, so.
This is true. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I loved, L.A. Banks, Vampire Huntress Legend. And this character ended up being a vampire. So I think he counts. Carlos counts. He's like the best thing ever. I love it. Like there's so many ways I could go. I have to narrow down, what I want.
Side thought, we should do our favorite vampire hunters, either a different month or simultaneously, because some of these vampire hunters were pretty great.
Yeah.
So you just said vampire hunter and my brain was like, ooh, shiny. Yeah. Let me follow the light.
You know what? I'd actually have to do some research on that one, though, because they don't come to mind really fast. I'd have to do more research.
It's usually harder to find vampire hunters, but I think that could be fun. All right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, people. Help me remember this later because I will forget in the next 5 minutes.
Or I'll remember when I edit and I'll be like,
oh, perfect.
Casey, remember you said?
And I'll be like, no, I don't remember saying that. But all right, let's do it anyway.
Replay tape. There you go. So
yes.
That's a good one.
So anyway, back to vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's so many. But I have to ask you, do you like seeing the vampire as the villain or the hero?
It just depends on my mood. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, sometimes I like seeing vampires in their original scary state before they became cool and sexy. Mm-hmm. So, like that one book by, oh my gosh, they made it into a TV show, but I have read like 2 out of the 3 of these books. What is that guy's name? Y'all know what I'm talking about, but you don't because I'm being very vague and it makes no sense. I'll tell you in a minute. Oh, the Strain. That's it.
Oh, yes.
So those books are very scary vampires, gory vampires. And I loved it. I loved the books that I read. I enjoyed it. It was fun. And they're not cute in any kind of way. and that's a mood. And then sometimes I'm like in the sexy urban fantasy mode where I'm like, yeah, bring on the hot vampires that have like all these skills and stuff. And they can also save the day. So I don't know. It just depends. What about you?
Same way. Sometimes you just want that scary villain who is more powerful and sucks your blood and can fly, and you're just like, oh my god, this is scary as shit. And other times like, yes, I want the loving vampire who's gonna save the day and we're gonna, escape from the bad guys together. And this time the blood drinking is sexy, but every other time it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. There's so many, like even within good or bad, there's like so many variations of types of vampires. Like you start getting into the author's different idea of what they think a vampire is.
And can do and can't do. And some can fly, some can turn into bats, some are sparkly, some,
I'm shaking my head at sparkly because I'm like, just no. Like, that's just one more level of ridiculousness. I'm sorry. Like, sparkly, I can believe a lot. They
wanted to stay in high school.
I know. Like, why would you want to do that? I wouldn't.
High school was the worst. But to be fair, Edward was the first vampire that I read.
Really?
So, yes. Yes, he was the first vampire. I think I was 14 or 15 when I read him.
Wow.
He was the first vampire.
And then
shocked. I started yes, I know. I discovered Christine Feehan's Carpathian vampires shortly after that. And I was like, all right, I'm done with the sparkling vampires. Give me the adult sex books.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when I read Twilight, I liked it when I read it, but that was amongst my, I guess, time when I was reading a lot of YA. So I don't think anything was like brushing me the wrong way as it does thinking back on it now.
Yeah. There's a lot of YA I read.
Yeah.
At the time, it was new. It was different. It was exciting. It was vampires when I'd never read vampires before. I was in high school at the time. So I connected with it on that level. And then I read other books and I was like, okay, it's not everything I thought it was, but this was kind of like my gateway drug. So it has its perks.
I definitely read Anne Rice back in the day before I read anything else. I remember reading Vampires and Interview with a Vampire.
I read that after Twilight, and I just remember being very bored with it. Again, probably because, that's Anne Rice's style, and I was a 14-year-old girl, and I was like, I just read about a sparkly vampire. What is this? I don't want a little 5-year-old vampire being dressed up and all this other stuff going on. I'm so bored.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the first time. I feel like the LA Banks was the first book where I read about vampires that I thought were sexy, or demons, or whatever that could have been sexy. Anything paranormal that has a good light kind of shined on it, and a non-creepy factor.
Yes.
But after that, there are so many books. Like, we just talked about Discovery of Witches, last year. We talked about, just go through our playlist. We talk about a lot of vampires.
We do.
And even in series where vampires isn't the focus, like Mercy Thompson, the series is not focused on vampires, but there are vampires, and we like some of those vampires, and we don't like some. Yeah, we like Stefan.
Love there are others Scooby-Doo van. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So vampires are like woven all throughout so many of these like fantasy and urban fantasy and paranormal romance. And they don't even have to be the main character sexing it up with the heroine.
No, he's just hanging out in his Scooby-Doo van.
Yeah. Lusting over someone he can't have. He needs to take a seat.
He does.
But, I know.
And they're done that. Talked about that series.
I know. And I did start the Cheryl Kenyon series too, but I only read like the first book.
It was good. I read, again, back in high school, I read, I don't know, maybe the first 10 or 12. And then I fell behind. And every once in a while, I'll like feel the itch and I'll go back and reread some of her early stuff. But I haven't read anything new in a decade.
Okay.
Which is kind of sad. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the greatest thing ever. She definitely had some very interesting takes. And I enjoyed them, and I can still enjoy them for, a light popcorn, snacky read kind of thing.
Popcorn, it's delicious sometimes.
Oh, I love popcorn. I'm addicted to popcorn, like just in general. And sometimes you need those popcorn books. And I'm just like,
Are they still, is she still writing new ones for that series? I don't remember.
So there was a whole busload of drama bullshit going on with her within the past few years. But I'm pretty sure she's still writing and publishing.
Okay.
That is a whole ass topic for another time.
Oh my gosh.
Just Google it, you guys. It is insane.
Yeah, like even I'm gonna have to check it out one day. But not today. I have other things to do, but one day.
I mean, like, she said her husband was poisoning her. It's insane.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's that.
There was that. We're gonna move on from that now.
But there are also like some vampire, I guess, stories, or maybe, like I said, there's a vampire in the story where people just hate them for whatever reason. Like, I can think of like the Laurel K. Hamilton series that's right here on our screen. Like, honestly, people just talk so much shit about that series. I have yet to meet anyone who is up to date with that series and actually got past like the first 5 books. I don't know, not a one person.
I actually haven't read any of her books.
Okay.
People kept recommending them to me, and I was going to read it, and then they're like, "Oh God, it went terrible," and I was like, "All right, well, I'm just going to push this off." And now it's 2021, and I still haven't read it.
Because her vampire, well, all the guys in there, they just whatever. If y'all read it, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't, just Google it. I mean, they're like, I don't know. We'll move on from that. But that's one where I hear people say bad things about. I kind of agree. I tried to read Charlene Harris's book, but I only got through like the first book, and it was so night and day different from True Blood. I couldn't continue because I was a True Blood fan.
The first 2 books, didn't like them at all. And then the show came out later, and I was like, I didn't like the book, so I'm not going to watch the show. But apparently they're remaking the show already.
I heard that. I did hear that. So I think it's like reboot, like completely from the beginning, not like a spinoff and not a what do you call it when they come back together? But it's like a complete reboot. Yeah, I don't know.
They're doing a lot of weird stuff with TV right now.
They can't come up with anything new. Yeah, nothing new. So what kind of vampires do you think, like when it comes to lore, what do you think you like the most? Like that you hope to see consistent?
Personally, I do appreciate the vampires can't go out in the sunlight. That's just one of the tropes that I like, I guess, to make myself feel safe. You know, like, oh, read this scary vampire book, but it's sunny outside, so I'm safe right now. But I do find all of their aversions to crosses just absolutely ridiculous. Like, Christianity is only 2,000 years old. The vampires who walking around who are 5,000 years old, like, wouldn't even bat an eye at a cross. So I'm just like, okay. And the whole, it has to be a wooden stake to the heart and decapitation. I'm like, that would kill a lot of things and people.
Yeah, it would.
But
yeah,
like that would kill me if you put a wooden stake in my heart. I'm not a vampire, so why does it have to be a wooden stake in the heart? Like that just sometimes that feels weird and excessive.
I mean, yeah, I can see what you're saying. I can see that.
Like, yeah.
I think one of the lores that I don't like when it's missing, and I've only not come across it very much, but I like, I mean, to me, all vampires need to drink human blood.
Yes.
So,
yes.
It kind of throws me when two things happen. Okay, so one thing is like Stephanie Meyer went the vegetarian route with blood. I'm like, that is the dumbest shit I ever heard. I'm sorry. Yes. And I don't care for that. So I don't like when they find a way around of them drinking human blood, like keep consistent to that. And then some books, like I think this has happened in, what book was it? I was just reading something recently and I can't even think of it, where this happened. And it's happened in other books where the vampire needs blood, but they'll only drink from their mate after they find them. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's weird when that happens. Because, like, aren't you both vampires drinking recycled blood at this point? Like,
yeah, I don't like that. Like, stick to the lore. It's okay for them to be drinking blood from other people. I don't know. I just think, like, that's, like, one of the traditional things about vampires. Don't change it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. That is a weird one.
Yeah.
Especially if they're both vampires.
Yeah.
And the way sometimes human women get, I mean, by human women, I mean the fictional characters, where they're like, oh, I made it to this vampire, but he can only drink from me. And I'm like, bitch, really?
But you'll die. Do you want to be anemic
You'll be
forever?
Exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you're already losing a lot of blood once a month. Why are you, like, willingly losing a lot more the rest of the time?
No.
Why?
No, I don't like
Go
that
get some
stuff.
other fresh blood.
I know.
You know.
And I'm okay with that. And that is why I'm okay with some of these vampire characters not being, you know, they may be a hero, but they have shades of gray, right? Like, they may be a hero, but yes, I'm going to go out and drink blood from this random person because it needs to be done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, like, that's just eating? Like, you wouldn't force your partner to eat only what you cook for them. They can go out to eat sometimes. That's a weird metaphor. I'm going to stop it right there.
Oh my God.
Really, like, but come on. They can eat other people's blood. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So between mine's and yours, I think we have, like, those are two pieces of the lore that are, like, standard.
Yeah.
And I feel like
those are very standard things that are just.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What are you doing?
Why you got to do this? What are you doing? What are you doing here? What's going on?
I mean, if you want to break those rules and do something else, I guess you can try to have them have a baby, but that's a whole nother fiasco too. Because then we start getting into, well, what's in the body? Is it dead or not dead? That's a whole nother fiasco.
Yeah, you kind of need to keep the physiology consistent. Like, is there...
Right.
What are they doing with their body? what is working, what is not working. Babies, no.
Can they eat or not eat? Can they digest food or not digest food? Can they get people pregnant or not? It's like it's all over the place.
I know we're not talking about movies and TV shows and whatnot, but if anybody has watched What We Do in the Shadows, which is a very hilarious vampire mockumentary sitcom, they cannot eat food. And there's one scene where a vampire takes a single bite of pizza and just projectile vomits all over the place. And it is hilarious. Even if you hate vomit, you're like covering your eyes and laughing because, again, What We Do in the Shadows, it's amazing.
I've heard about that.
I would recommend all of those. You have to.
No.
The TV show, it's also good.
Isn't it like from the 70s or something?
No. No, it was made, I think the movie came out in like 2014 or 15.
Really? I thought it was like something old.
No. Huh. No, that's something else. This is What We Do in the Shadows by, what's his name? Oh my God. He directed Thor Ragnarok. I don't know. I don't know who directed Thor Ragnarok. I don't know. He's done a bunch of, he's really popular. He won a, I'm going to think of his name like right after we end the podcast. But anyway, he's really famous right now. He did the movie a few years ago, and it's a mockumentary following 4 vampires living together in New Zealand. Okay. It is absolutely hilarious, amazing. There's like, we need to watch this movie and then possibly talk about it on a podcast because it is that good. Okay. They did a spin-off show about 3 other vampires living in New York, and that's a TV sitcom on FX, I think. Okay. And it's on Hulu. So if you have Hulu right now, you can go binge the TV show. And you can watch that without knowing the movie. But I definitely recommend the movie. And it's all done in mockumentary style. So there's the documentary crew film, like following these vampires around. And it's hilarious. So yes. Okay. I'm going to have to, sort some time out to try to watch that. Yeah. They have the standard, can't go out into the sun, have to drink blood. They're kind of doofusy, but hilarious. They can hypnotize people. They can change into bats. Yeah, no, it's excellent. Highly, highly recommend if you like vampires at all. Okay, cool. So what's a popular vampire series that you have not read? Oh my gosh. Like based off of our cover list right here, I have not read Vampire Academy. I love it. I love it. To be really fair, the adaptations, the adaptation attempt was the worst.com. It was the worst thing fucking ever. But recently, side note, I heard that, I think her name is Julie Plec, I think is her name. She was the producer of the Vampire Diaries. She is going to give a go to the Vampire Academy on a TV show on the CW. That's awesome. And I mean, I love what she did with Vampire Diaries. So if she, be very clear, Vampire Diaries